Hi, it's Roger here with some of the creators of the upcoming second batch of Short Circuit, which is going to be coming to Disney Plus on August the 4th. And so, kicking things off, first off with Kim, could you give us an idea of what your short is all about, please?
My short is about a cartoon hero, um, basically learning work-life balance. You when you watch cartoons, usually you only see heroes doing like superhero things, fighting bad guys, punching, things like that. Dinosaur Barbarian was born with the idea of, well, do they ever do anything else in their life, or is that it? Um, so
And the same question to you, Rianne.
Songs to Sing in the Dark is about two creatures in kind of the depths of a dark cave. And as they have a battle of acoustic one-upmanship, they become friends. They find out they're stronger together.
Okay, and sort of just go into, could you kind of give us an idea of the sort of the process of what it was like for you going through the Short Circuit program? We'll start off again with you, Kim.
So the way that it works is we actually submit a written document of like what we're hoping to achieve, and it's reviewed by a committee, and they don't know that who we are, they only know the idea. So our ideas were selected based on just the idea alone. After that, when you find out that you've been selected, you panic, and then you get really excited. And I just completely blanked. Rihanna, do you want to?
Sure, I can get from there because my process was exactly the same, kind of going into it. I had the panic phase. And then the leaders of Short Circuit, so it was Jen Newfield, I think, in this round. She would get in touch with you and say, hey, you've been picked. And then you kind of start the process of making a schedule and getting a team assembled. Most people do their Short Circuits in 4 to 5 to 6 months, maybe on the tail end. And you start out in storyboards usually. You'll involve editorial pretty early. If you have music that's really important to your short, then you'll get that rolling pretty early with a musician. From there, you'll move into assets. You'll get modelers and look environments, and sometimes you'll go through like the repository in the studio of assets that have already been built, because these are really lean productions. It's like if there are character rigs you can use and switch around a hairstyle to use in your short, that makes things a lot easier. For Songs to Sing in the Dark, we actually used the cave from Moana that Maui shoves Moana into. So we just repurposed that. It was like a whole set that we didn't have to build. And from there it moves into rigging, and then animation, and then effects if you have any, lighting, tech animation if you have any, so for cloth and hair simulation.
Yeah,
And then the only thing that was different about Dinosaur Barbarian was that typically in most shorts the music comes last. You would create the music to match with the visuals. With Dinosaur Barbarian, because it is song-based, the music came first, and then we matched the visuals to the song. So a little bit backwards than what's normally done. Yeah,
Songs to Sing in the Dark was the same way. We actually kind of joke that we're like the buddy musical shorts in Short Circuit. So for both of ours, the music was really important, and it came very early in the process.
Yes. And Kim, I've got to ask you, what was your like inspiration from the 80s cartoons? Which ones did you kind of get pulled from for that one?
I mean, honestly, there's so many. Off the top of my head, I'd probably have to go with He-Man, Thundercats, and Care Bears, which is like a weird trio of things. But it was really important for me to have it framed like those 80s cartoons, because I feel like that was when cartoons were so outlandish and so pushed, and like really you never saw these characters do anything else other than the one thing they always did.
Yeah, fight bad guys.
Yeah.
It was funny because being an 80s kid, it was like grew up watching all those shows has kind of instantly kind of drew me in, and often as well the kind of the intro was the best bit of the show often. So
yeah, exactly. That was kind of the feeling I was trying to capture, was just, the theme songs were always so awesome, like you would watch it and you were like, wow, this is going to be great. It was that energy, trying to take that feeling but like doing chores.
And Riannon, what was your how did you come up with the idea of your short?
Ooh, it's kind of a non-linear answer. Let's see. So both of my parents are research scientists, and so I would go down like these big information rabbit holes, just finding out about stuff like, oh, what do I want to discover today? I had an interest in evolutionary biology when I was in high school. Like I took biology twice, which is maybe kind of weird for a high schooler. So as kind of pertains to this short, so there are some animals like bats that use echolocation to navigate. They have a very sophisticated use of sound, but some animals can do even more than that. Like you'll have tiger moths, which can use an interference pattern to jam echolocation. You have sperm whales that can use sound like a shotgun and stun their prey. You have dolphins, who now they're thinking have a kind of pictographic language. They're called cymoglyphs, where they can actually encode an image in sound and transmit it to another dolphin. And so I'm reading about all this stuff, and I'm like, well, what if you just kind of took this all to its logical extreme? Like, what if you stuck a bunch of animals in a cave for millions of years, and they just evolved like crazy? Like they're always one-upping each other, trying to fool one another, trying to trick one another. And it's like, maybe sound could become like weapons and armor and camouflage and these huge threat displays. Like there are insects and praying mantises that'll have like eye spots on their wings, or they'll like raise their arms and there's like a huge amount of color on the underside. And it's almost like you could completely reinvent yourself in a space like that. Like you could put any image you wanted into the mind of an observer. And I just thought, like, how cool would it be to do a short where it's like these characters are trying to represent themselves completely differently? And what would that look and sound like?
Especially as well, because they are pretty cute little characters as well. So that's kind of the nice side to it as well.
Yeah.
With that one. And so I'm going to ask, Kim, was there any kind of collaboration between other people working on the short circuit program?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, actually, it was Riannon who encouraged me to apply to the program when she heard what my idea was. And Ryan Green, the director of Crosswalk, actually storyboarded Dinosaur Barbarian. So after I worked with the composers, the Mondo Boys, we nailed the song down. And then Ryan is the one who took my idea salad and helped make the very first visual form of the short.
Cool. And kind of to both of you, what kind of surprised you when you went through the process of making your shorts? Start off with Riannon.
It surprised me. I'm trying to think. Nothing's really coming to mind.
No?
Cam, do you have any?
I think the thing that surprised me the most about Short Circuit was how many people sort of rose to the occasion. I mean, we're a scrappy program, usually with small teams, and every time there was a situation where it was like, oh, how are we going to do that? Or what are we going to do here? Inevitably, someone would have a genius idea or a solve, and just the amount of teamwork and collaboration, I think so maybe surprise makes it sound bad, but it was like a pleasant surprise and like a warm collaboration.
Yeah, the level of ingenuity, even if it's things we never do in our main films. We had a process on Songs to Sing in the Dark where the holograms are done in 2D, but we actually we turned them into light emissive objects, so they would actually create light in the 3D space. And that had only been done 2 or 3 times before. It was just some guy in effects who is sadly no longer with us. He's moved on to other projects. And he was like, hey, I had this great process in Moana where like Maui swings his hook, and we just had like a 2D vector shape, and we had that like the environment. And I'm like, oh, you've done that before? And he's like, once or twice. And I was like, oh, can we do that for a whole short? And he's like, okay. And
well, I just want to say thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to speak to me about these upcoming shorts. I really enjoyed them and can't wait for everyone to see them when they arrive on Disney Plus on August the 4th. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.